Hey guys, welcome back. In this lesson, I'm going to show you how you can start to own your past. So you can start moving forwards without dragging the past behind you. It's not about fixing the past. It's not about releasing it and forgetting about it. Your past is important and everything that you've experienced is completely valid and it's shaped the person that you are today. So what this lesson is for, it just gives you a tool to be able to reflect, and before we start finding the next step and before we start making moves forward, it just provides us with a bit more ownership so we can actually move on with our lives. It's a case of taking ownership and accountability for how something is making us feel. And by doing that, it allows us to create more space. It allows us to see where we are. It allows us to make decisions from a place of clarity. For myself, I tried to outrun my past for years. I went to the other side of the world in Australia. I spent years in Asia, backpacking, just trying to avoid all kinds of responsibility. And I was ultimately refusing to take accountability for how my own choices were impacting my everyday. And as soon as I started implementing these steps, I started to realize that I have ownership of what affects me. And I realized that I was giving power to these negative voices and these negative feelings. These things that had happened in my past and these experiences which had led me to leave to the other side of the world and avoid being back in the UK, it was only hurting me. It wasn't affecting the people that I hadn't forgiven. And for me, forgiveness is not about ignoring what happened. It's not about ignoring the weight of what happened, because whatever it is that has happened in your life and has got you to where you are today, it's absolutely important. It's completely shaped who you are and it will continue to shape who you are. But this module and this task and this course is just about clearing some space so we can move forwards and we can start to find those positives and we can start to find the motivation and the energy and the drive to keep moving forwards rather than trying to prove something, rather than trying to run away from something. And it's making decisions from a calm state. It's making decisions from, I want this and I would like to go here, rather than making decisions from a reaction, from emotions, from being overwhelmed and trying to fix something. Because ultimately what happens is we change the environment, we change the place, we change the job or the people, and all that happens is we just take those same feelings from A to B, from B to C, and years can pass where we're still carrying that same weight that we've been carrying for years and years and years. And it honestly always just starts with us. We're going to work through it together. It is really clear and really concise. And as you start to work through it, and as you start to do this more often, it will become easier and it will just ultimately start to play into your everyday, where you probably won't even necessarily need to sit down and think long and hard about the things that are impacting you and are potentially holding you back from everything that you're capable of. And that's what I want from you. I want you to leave this course feeling much calmer, much clearer, and feeling like everything that was holding you back before no longer has the same weight that it did before this course. First of all, why this works. So the brain likes information, and as we go through life, we just keep taking in new information and we keep learning. And obviously at school, our learning is very much controlled, it's very much manufactured, so we learn things that we may never use again. But as we get older and we find ourselves in comfortable jobs and comfortable relationships where we're not really learning anything in the traditional sense of reading a book and learning, but your experiences still shape you. So as you go out into the world, you are constantly getting information, and that's ultimately how we need to look at the past. Is the past is information. So everything that has got you here today, everything that you have done, all the decisions you've made, the things that you're proud of, the things which you excel at, but also the things which you're not so good at, and the things that have hurt you, and the things that you wish you could change. That is all information. And it means that you can start to look forward into the future and say, no, I've done this before, or when I tried this, that happened. when my friend did this, that happened. And we live in an age where there is so much information out there that it's proof that if someone can do it, then why can't you? So for me, it's not about let going of the past. It's not about ignoring the past. It's learning from the past. It's treating the past as information. And the more information that we gather, the better decisions we can make. So rather than sitting and trying to release the past, trying to ignore it, to avoid it, and ultimately just shutting it off into a room and completely ignoring it, it's starting to appreciate the past for the lessons that it has provided you. And that's where we start with the clear aspect of the reset cycle. So what I want you to do is grab a piece of paper, grab your journal, maybe your phone, whatever is going to make you feel comfortable, whatever is easiest for you to use. You can make this as simple and basic, or you can make it full of color. You can use pictures, you can use drawings. It's whatever works best for you. So you can feel engaged and you can feel like you can explain what it is you mean. For someone that's more of a visual thinker, it might be beneficial to draw something. And there's also no rules about how much you can write. So if you want to journal about it, you could write sentences, you could write paragraphs. It's honestly however much work you want to put into it. So I want you to divide the page into 3 sections, or we'll just start with the first one at the top of your journal. So the first header is thought patterns or habits. And as we work through this, you can just hit pause at any time, you can rewind it. You're not going to lose this video, so then that way you can keep coming back to it time and time again for some guidance if you forget where you're at. So the purpose of this section is to start to understand what thought patterns and what habits we choose, whether that's consciously or subconsciously, each and every day or throughout the week, that is actually having a negative impact on our overall journey and our overall experience. So start to think about things that come up for you. It can be something really small, it can be something huge. The purpose of this is it's an ongoing process. So it's not a case of writing down a big habit or a big thought pattern and then just trying to resolve it. It's actually a case of just starting to recognize those things which keep showing up for us. So as we come back to this in a month's time, in 2 months' time, in 6 months' time, you'll be able to see, am I consistently having the same thought pattern? Have I improved that habit? I said in January that I wanted to do X and it's now March and I'm still doing it. So this is where this just becomes a bit of like an internal check, almost auditing ourselves, but for self-improvement. It's to find space and clarity in our mind. So for example, a habit for me is not looking at my phone when I wake up in the morning, not looking at my phone when I go to bed at night. It's things that I would love to change and I would actively try to change, but I'm not always going to get it right. So that's something that comes up time and time again whenever I do this. It's things like checking your notifications when you first wake up, but that could be something entirely different for you. When it comes to thought patterns, again, that can be something really simple, or it can be something quite deep. So in the past, I know that I've written things down about body image, where I put pressure on myself to look a certain way, or I actively will train to exhaustion even when I am tired, and I don't actively look after myself in the best way because I have a negative thought pattern about the way I look. And again, like I said, it's not going to be something that you can write down and then all of a sudden in a week's time or 6 months' time, it's not going to affect you. And that's not the purpose of this. This isn't something that is going to magically fix you. It's just a case of taking ownership and actually understanding what we are continuing. But what I found is that by working through this process and creating this self-awareness that might not ordinarily be there, is because I am actively writing out that I want to stop having these negative thought patterns about body image. I want to have a healthier relationship with myself when I'm going to the gym. I want to go to the gym because I want to move. I don't want to go to the gym because I feel like I need to punish myself. It helps me to make decisions later on. So when I do feel like I should go to the gym at 8 p.m, but I've had a really long day, I now have the awareness to check in with myself because I've been using this to sit there and say, do I actually need or want to go to the gym, or is it going to be more beneficial for me to take the evening to rest and then go tomorrow when I feel more energized, rather than before when I was walking through life with no self-awareness of what thought patterns I was choosing. I wasn't aware of what I was doing and what I was actively deciding to do. So that 8 p.m. feeling would come in of, you're lazy, you ate this today, you didn't go to the gym yesterday. Before, that would be me getting in the car, going to the gym and exhausting myself. And ultimately that is one of the aspects which led to me burning out, because I just wasn't aware of my own patterns that was causing me to burn out. So pause here, take your time with this one, take as long as you need. You can come back to this video and just really be honest with yourself and start small, maybe have some big goals on there, some big changes that you would like to make. And then we move on to the second section. So either split the page and have a second title, or cross a line in your journal, however you want to do it, and just put the title Energy Drainers. Again, this one is very much a self-reflective practice, but it's more about external factors rather than internal. So the thought patterns and habits, they may be things that we've learned from external influences, but they're patterns and habits that we're continuing to choose. Whereas the energy drainers, it might be something outside that is draining us that we're just not aware of. And you'll have seen it before on social media and in the world of self-help, that your circle is so important. The places that you go, the environment that you're in, the people that you're around. If you surround yourself with negative influences, you surround yourself with people that are doing something which you don't agree with or you don't like, that is going to drain your energy. If you're someone that likes to have early mornings and you like to get everything done in the morning and then you sort of slow down in the afternoon, but everyone around you, all of your friends are people that want to go out at night, they're people that want to stay up late, they're people that want to go out and drink and do all of these things, it's going to negatively impact you if you're looking around and you're thinking, am I the only one that is wanting to do it this way? And it's not that you're wrong and it's not that they're wrong, it's just understanding, what are we bringing in? So what is actually draining our energy? And another one to think about, which I think is something that isn't talked about at all, is it's also what we're consuming. So when you look at your Netflix and you look at your podcast that you listen to, if you're watching a lot of true crime and a lot of things about why the world is such a bad place, you'll probably start to realize, if you're honest with yourself, that that is actually impacting you in your everyday. Whereas if you start consuming things which inspire you, which motivate you, which make you laugh, which give you a driving force to change, then you'll start to embody that. And I think that is something which I realized was when I was really struggling and I was really down and out. I remember just looking at what I was watching, and I still obviously enjoy the true crime documentaries. I still go onto Netflix and watch some of these documentaries which are amazing and really captivating. But again, it just comes into understanding what we need. And sometimes you might be at home in the evening and you're feeling a bit flat. Now, if you watch something which you enjoy, that could be a comfort show, that could be a comedy, and you're sat there and you're laughing, that is going to be an entirely different response in your nervous system and in your mind than if you watched a murder documentary or you watched something which is really heavy. So it's not that it's necessarily negative. I'm not saying that you should really look at everything you're consuming and just completely rip it apart. But it's understanding that that actually might be having an impact on you. It's the same if you look at your Instagram feed and you're following all of these body beautiful people, you're following all of these people with loads of money, and you're kind of sat thinking, why are they doing that? Why am I not doing this? If that's having a negative impact on you, then you should press unfollow. You should be following people that are inspiring you and following people that you want to be like, because it will motivate you to change, rather than taking on these people and letting them drain your energy. Pause here, have a think about this one. This one can be quite difficult because it is quite personal to ourselves individually, and it is almost quite reflective about our whole circle, whether that's sort of friends, whether that's where we're working, maybe even the gym that we go to. It could be anything like that. It could be the cafe that you choose. And it's really interesting how these small changes, like going to a new gym where the culture is much more welcoming, can make us feel more motivated to train. So just again, as a quick example, you're paying £20 a month for a gym, but you really hate it, and it has sort of dark lighting and mirrors, and everyone's like, it's all bodybuildery, and you just don't feel motivated. I know I've had it in the past where I will drive to the gym, and as soon as I walk through the doors, I feel my energy crash, and I'm like, I don't want to be here. So that's not an environment for me to work out in. And then I've gone and spent £35, £40 on a gym, which of course is an extra expense. But the environment that's been so much better, maybe it's been brighter, maybe it's been more welcoming, maybe they've had classes instead of it being like a completely open gym. You get a community feel, you get the hello when you arrive. Then all of a sudden I want to go. So for the case of £15 extra a month investment, I feel much better because I'm doing something which is really good for me. I'm enjoying doing it, and I'm feeling motivated and inspired by my peers and the people around me. So I think it is really important to look at what is draining our energy. Okay, perfect. So we should be up to the last and final step, which I think is really challenging when we first start. But once we start to move forwards with this one, the third section is two parts. So the first part is forgiveness, and the second part is gratitude. So the second part might be easier, or if you've never really practiced gratitude, it can actually be quite challenging. I know I struggled with it when I first started doing it, and it's something, a habit that I would like to practice more of. So let's talk forgiveness. Now, when I am talking about forgiveness, I am not for 1 second saying that you should go around and hug the people that have hurt you, or go back into a room that something bad happened. I know that in my previous career, there are people that I have forgiven, but I wouldn't want to talk to them. If they came up to me in the street, I would walk away. I am not for 1 second trying to invalidate your experience or any of the things that you have gone through in your life. But as I said about owning where we've been and owning the energy drainers and the thought patterns, this will free up so much space for you. It doesn't make right what happened. It doesn't make right what they did. It doesn't make right what they said. But if you can sit here this evening, or maybe you do it for the next few months, and it's not until month 6 that you actually feel that forgiveness, it will be such a weight off. So I want you to think about anyone that's upset you, anyone that's hurt you. This can be so small. It can be you went to your favorite coffee shop and the last croissant was there and someone took it and you didn't get the croissant you wanted. So you felt disappointed, you felt upset. It can be that small. Write down, I forgive the person that got the last croissant. It can also be much larger. So it can be, I forgive the friend that I fell out with 5 years ago. I forgive my ex-partner. Again, I'm not for 1 second saying that you're forgiving them and that means you should reach out to them. I'm saying that you forgive them for what happened. But the most important bit of this is it's not external. So the forgiveness is also for yourself. And sometimes I write, I forgive myself for X. I forgive myself for thinking this. So again, it makes us clear space because we start to show compassion for ourselves. So again, that could be forgiving yourself for something that you said. It could be forgiving yourself for getting something wrong. And when we start to practice this self-compassion, you'll find it easier to manage situations in the future where you do make mistakes, because you're human and we all make mistakes. Even people that do all of the work imaginable and have all of the expertise, they're not going to get everything right. So if you can start to practice forgiveness externally, but also internally, it will just start to take some of that weight off that you've probably been feeling on your shoulders. Which then brings us to gratitude, which is just to finish off this section with a bit of positivity, because this can be quite heavy stuff, especially when you first start. The more you do this, the less you'll probably write down, because you're not going to continue to have these negative patterns all the time, and new things will come up. You'll get stuff that comes up where you think, oh, I've not thought about that for a while, or I've not thought about that person for a while. So it will get less and less. And sometimes you might sit down and do this and you might really struggle to find things to write down. Other times you might have a long list to write down, and there is honestly no right or wrong. But with the gratitude, if you've never practiced gratitude before, it is really simple. It's just write anywhere from 3 to 5. If you've got more, perfect. Just write 3 to 5 things down that you're grateful for. It can be, again, as simple as I'm grateful that the coffee shop down the road makes me my coffee every day. It can be I am grateful for myself. It can be I'm grateful for my friend who did this for me this week. It can be something, again, there's no timestamp for it. So it can be I'm grateful for something that happened today. It could be something that I'm grateful for that happened 10 years ago. It's essentially just starting to reverse this process. Once we've kind of cleared this space, it's actually going, but these are the really good things in my life. So you've just had probably a lot come up that you weren't necessarily fully thinking about before. So this is just to kind of make everything a little bit more positive and just have a bit more of a check with ourselves. So we leave feeling happier. We have just explored some things which are negative, and now we want to finish on a positive. So just start to think about those things and those people and those places that you're grateful for. Right guys, so that has been the clear section of the reset cycle. It can be a lot to understand, but I hope that that's been straightforward and clear for you, no pun intended. I will go through the commit section of that later on in the course. But before you start the next module, which is the direction module, really take some time to do this, and maybe take an evening. You could do it by yourself, you could do it with a friend, whatever you feel comfortable doing. And then really take a break, have a rest, sleep, have a day off, and then come back to the next section later. The rest of this course is more designed to start moving forwards and finding direction, but that works best when we feel calm, we feel like we have a bit of a clearer head. And that's what this module has been all about. I've given you some tools early on. We did a quick mobility routine so you can just get back into the body. And now we've done an activity, which is, it can be quite a lot for you to process, but I hope that you'll find this really helpful, and I know I have found it super helpful. And now this is something that you always have in your back pocket whenever you need it. So that's been the Clear Cycle. Thank you for watching. I appreciate the commitment to this course, and I will see you on the next one.